slightly chilly, but it's a nice bright evening. Right, the agenda, not a particularly busy one I think tonight, but I'll tell you in an hour's time how quickly we're doing. Andrew, apologies for absence.
Yes, I have apologies from Councillor Sharif.
Right. Item 2, declarations of interest. Does anyone? No? Nothing to declare. Right, item 3, the minutes of the previous meeting. Very well chaired by Councillor Berrowford, thank you. Right. Does anyone have any points they wish to raise on those around the table? I'll give you a minute just to... Right. Can I ask for a proposer and a seconder of those, please? Proposed by Pauline, seconded by Chris. I say the minutes are therefore accepted. Item 5, to receive reports, the PCSO.
Nothing from the policing, no newsletter, nothing this month.
Right. And district and county councillors, I understand it, are
engaged.
Yes, further. Yes. Yes. Right. Any reports from the parish councillors? Yes, Mike?
Okay, let's just be brief. Let's start out with the data. The Wild Trout Trust meet on April 4th was very extensive, and I expect their report to be received by May 4th. During that whole session, Martha Noakes is a freshwater officer from Whitecliffe's Partnership attended, and she's telling me that their funding expectation from the Environment Agency is looking very positive, and that we will be able to get on the back on that for a small amount of money to properly fund the work that WTT are looking at, not in total, but there will be certainly a contribution, but as to its extent, I don't know at the moment. On the 29th of April, myself and Martha Noakes are doing a joint presentation to Temple Ewell Parish Council, which is at AGM night on the Dower, which is a 20-30 minute audio visual presentation, which we're both in the process of putting together at the moment. And on April 22nd, I'm attending a full day live meeting at Ashford on the Stour with the East Kent Improvement Partnership, which will give me the opportunity to have a face-to-face with our EA catchment officer. Okay. So that covers up the Dower. In terms of the summer fete, Snap Fitness have agreed to be lead sponsor again, and they've pledged £200, and that's a net amount because we've got no cost involved with that. As for the fete itself, the bridal copy date is the 1st of May, so whatever we produce there, we need to bear that in mind. Unfortunately, their new editor has not responded to my emails in the last 3 weeks or calls, so what I want to do with them, we were talking about putting in a loose coloured insert in there rather than black and white ad, is still up in the air. So that needs further work for me, but I've contacted Helen Deere, the ex-editor. She says that Jay Small is still in charge of the magazine, but he's not corresponding with me. So I'll keep you all informed on that, but we should bear in mind, and Daniel as well, with the artwork ideas, that May 1 will, with a few days the other side of that spare, it will be a copy date, so I'll keep you informed on that.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll bring on
Pauline
that
first.
parking strategy at CBC. They did the survey for it over Christmas, from the 20th of December until the 19th of January, which didn't go too down with some of the villages. They're, according to the survey, Dover car parks on average are 50% full. We don't use them that very much, they're saying. They surveyed every car park around the district, but Dover's is 50% with the least. So, it always seems to be quite busy when I've gone past most of them. They were talking that Cambridge Terrace and Albany are already in the plans for building on. I mean, that is in the future, but they are the two that will probably disappear for building on for now, although there may be others.
Which two were those, sorry?
Cambridge Terrace,
Right.
which is a temporary one where the stage was,
Yes.
wasn't it? And Albany at the back, because it's not used quite as much as some of the others. And that was mooted as having social housing on it at one time. So that might be something for them. When they got to question times, that went on for quite a while. People were saying that obviously the buses came into it. If they want us to not use cars, obviously we need more buses and laser buses. Permit holders, that's gone up this year, and there's no guarantee you'll get a parking space in your own street or nearby. It does happen. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 streets away because it's an area, isn't it? It's not a single road. And they want to make sure that cash payments actually stay for the parking, because a lot of places are converting to Ringo, the equivalent.
Yes.
I don't use that, but and if you can't get a phone signal, you can't pay for your parking, which is causing quite a bit of a problem, isn't it? Yeah. Villagers say they're not really catered for. If they want to come into shopping, they get to some of the car parks where you're going to park. So they said use the buses or public transport. Yeah. Villages, some of them haven't got any public transport, have they? But yeah, it was interesting. And the only other idea they talked about, obviously DDC will go eventually in the plan for devolution, isn't it? They might set off some of the car parks to the local parish councils, or offer them to parish councils, because they won't be there to look after them. So
Right.
KCC doesn't want to, or the equivalent, or whatever it's going to be.
We'll obviously get the one in the rec, I would think.
That wasn't on their
Yeah.
list.
It wasn't? Oh.
It wasn't one of those they surveyed.
Yeah. Yep.
It's on the car park list, but
Yes.
it's not one they surveyed. But yeah, so it would be interesting.
Good.
But that was it. Yeah.
Right.
Can I just make a comment
Yeah.
about, again, car parking, and it's becoming more of an issue. And it's come up here when we were having planning applications, and some people say, there's nowhere to park. Now, I happened to go to a planning committee meeting up at Whitfield just over 2 weeks ago, and there were 2 items on the agenda ahead of the one that I was there for. But basically there were HMOs, houses of multiple occupancy, one at the bottom of Castle Hill, and one along Castle Street, along Castle Street, more or less opposite, say, where the fish and chip shop is. And the local people there showed concern time and time again, where are we going to park?
There's no parking.
There's no parking. This is parking was limited as it was. So, as it is. So, it is something they're going to have to start considering more in planning applications. I understand that a planning application doesn't consider things as parking issues, but they'll have to start bringing it all together, otherwise things are not joined up.
Yeah, it's not planning consent, is it?
But they need to, and I was thinking about near Cambridge Terrace, there's a development there when they convert Waterloo Mansions for at least 17 flats. There's probably going to be 17 flats, cars there, and that car park will need to be used.
It's only a temporary one, isn't it? It's been
Well,
temporary for a few years, but
well, it's got it's quite a secure one, in so much that it's got camera coverage and things like that. I'm quite happy to park. I mean, there's other camera coverage, so it's reasonably secure. But I mean, if that one goes, that area again is going to be short of car
Right,
parking.
Thank you, Chris.
yeah.
Right, Dan.
So part of my conversation with the bus stop on the Ridgeway has then stemmed into Lewisham Road Bus Shelter with this gentleman. I wrote him in avoid Mickey pestering. So he said the Ridgeway should have been sorted, the bus flag still hasn't. I'm now in direct contact with the managing director of Stagecoach East Kent, who has taken that under his wing to sort out the missing sign. The buses are not stopping up there, the stock is missing. I then asked him about the shelter. Andrew, I think you mentioned about a scheme that's coming up. So he's personally responsible for the Rural Bus Shelter Grant Scheme, which is in early plans, which is offering the parish councils the opportunity to bid to install a bus shelter, for them to install a bus shelter as long as we maintain it. So that was one scheme. And there's a separate scheme which is due out this financial year, 2025-26. District and borough councils can apply for additional funding to refurbish and replace bus shelters where they are missing or damaged because of tight budget pressures. They don't know if DDC has applied, but they expect them to apply for it. So there's two funding channels coming through that could assist with the bus shelter on Lewisham Road. He has asked, I don't know the answer, is there actually a pole marking it as a bus stop currently? Because if there isn't, he said he could do that.
It is. The
Is
Lewisham
there?
Road
There used to
is-
be, I don't think.
Lewisham Road
it's
stop.
gone.
The Lewisham,
The Lewisham Road stop, yeah.
the stop is the bus signs are there.
So there must be a
and
pole.
the timetable.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he
There
offered
is a
to
pole,
he
yeah.
offered to replace
because the
that
kids
if that
aren't
was
queuing
missing.
up on
Yep.
that.
No.
If we just double check on that, can I think,
Yes,
I
I
pass it
I can't
so many
think,
times and
yeah.
I can't think, yes.
So if the pole's missing, he will replace that.
Yep.
There will be two different schemes, one without a name and one called the Rural Shelter Grant.
I'm pretty sure it was just the shelter that was removed.
Yeah, it
because
was.
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause the buses
Yes.
are still stopping it.
Yeah.
And he also would help with I keep harping on about the Ridgeway Loop going into town, and he's happy to assist on that as well, Stagecoach. So slow progress, but I'm nagging to make some movement.
Yeah.
Right. No one
Before we
else?
go on to
Yes.
planning, or
No, we're,
there's the local residents. I don't know whether Andrew has received a reply to the excellent letter that he wrote about Meadowdean. I think this was a very accurately summed up our views.
Well, it was a comment. I haven't received a response on it. I mean, it was just submitted as a comment, so
They won't send
Yeah,
a
they won't
response.
respond to it.
Okay.
Well, a lot of people did put objections, so I don't know whether it's going to be called into the planning committee.
Well, usually if it's about 5 or 6 they can do. It's quite a, there's enough objections I believe,
Yeah.
yeah.
right, I thought I would mention at this stage, I spoke to Mary and Robin and they recently conducted a speed watch and more than 20 people were found to be exceeding the speed limit. I think the far quickest was 46 miles an hour.
Where was this?
On Lewisham Road, I assume. But they said they caught 20 plus people from various, but all 20, 21, and the worst was a 46, I think they
That's
said.
fast.
So that's quite fast. So it's good that Mary is indeed doing that and says that if anyone wants to get involved, give her a shout. She'd love to let you know when they're doing it again. Sorry, I thought I'd just mention that here. And if I may, I was going to bring up a little bit later, but we will bring up under questions from members of the public, because a member of public I want is here from the convenience store he wants to speak about the post office. So I will, when we get to item 6, which is actually the next one, I will ask you to say, if you wouldn't mind, just a few words. Yep. So we finished the reports. So if I could, question 6, questions from members of the public. If you would like to explain what you said to me today, thank you.
Hi guys, my name's Fran. As you guys may know, I've got me and my family own a convenience store down in the children way. So when we were initially doing the building works for the show, I had a lot of interest inconsistency that was putting up posters at pharmacy due to the inconsistency of the opening times, and there is a lack of and the posters are unwilling to reinvest into the area again, which I think is completely not true, because even to this day I have a lot of elderly citizens coming in to ask me for the post office because their bus times have slowed down to once an hour, I believe now, to go into town, and a lot of them have having mobility issues to just to travel to town. So I want to make life a lot easier for a lot of people down here, and just about opening their post office. And also we've got a lot of people in the village that are business owners themselves, and sometimes to some they say they struggle to go to their bank because a lot of high street banks are closing down now, and the nearest post office is in town or Whitfield, and sometimes they just haven't got the time to go do that. So I would like to reopen up the post office in my store, because I believe I've got the manpower and the staff to maintain it for 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So I've got this little petition here, with a little QR code here that I'll hand to.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if anyone could sign it for me, please, and share it along to your fellow peers, be much grateful. And just the support of the local parish council would mean a lot to me, and I think it would mean a lot to the community as well if we get a post office in there.
Yeah. I mean, speaking from, thank you very much indeed. And I'm sorry to chuck you in at the deep end there, but I thought it would be nice you were here. We had time, and you haven't got to necessarily wait a couple of hours while the rest of the meeting runs. So, but I personally feel that yes, the chemists trying to open very short hours, restricted hours, made it very difficult for people to use the post office, and if they wanted to use it, it was shut. So yes, I think it makes a lot of sense. Your store is open very long hours, so I for one would certainly support you. And I just ask the other councillors if they've any thoughts, comments to make.
Quite happy to support it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's then immediately that we need in this respect.
Yes. Yeah. So from a parish council point of view, we definitely support you 100%. Not that means a lot with the parish council, unfortunately. I'd like to think it was important, but quite often in these sort of things, but we certainly would back you 100%. Thank you. Right. I would say any other members of the public got anything to raise, but thank goodness you came, because you're the only member of the public.
Is it possible I can maybe when I'm going to recontact them again, kind of like get a letter or something like that to just to show them like support from you guys as well?
Andrew, yes. Andrew is the man that will organise that for you. Perfect. No, thank you very much indeed for coming. Right.
Actually, I have one more query.
Sorry.
Which from Mr. Hall and actually Mrs. Nicholas.
Oh.
Queried about the planters and when they'll be arriving. It's all been delayed by the enormous amount of time that Kent Highways took to give us permission. That is in now, and it was also had to wait for the funding from Councillor Beanie to be confirmed as well. But that's all confirmed now, and they are on order. Of course, they are bespoke ones because they've got our logo on them. So it will, I don't have a delivery date, but that is all in hand.
Thank you, Andrew. Right, moving on to item 7, planning matters.
Got some, just a few large, not reading. Which one's that?
That's the St Radigan's one. Now the two applications for St Radigan's.
Yeah.
208 is largely the external building. 209 is mostly the internal work. A lot of the documents are the same.
They are, yeah, all the private bits and everything else.
The main plan should be the external works. I mean, it is
You can get to it from the river, can't you? We've read quite a bit. I mean, the only comment that's online at the moment is from the Dover Society. Yeah, they're actually supporting it. With some, obviously, we can't make an informed decision on it because we are not Historic England and we're not the DDC Heritage Officer, who they have had previous talks with them before they submitted this. So that sounds quite promising for them. Doesn't mean to say it will get approved, but yeah. It is an old 1960s external add-on and garage, so it's not, although it's attached to a building that is under the sort of grade 2, I think it is, isn't it?
Not sure about the building. The actual abbey is grade 2 star listed.
Yeah,
It will be within the curtilage
it
of it.
is, but it's not one that is of historic interest. It's a 1960s add-on bit that's the only bit they want to remove. So I can't see a
I think
problem
it was
with
a
it.
very nice scheme.
It is quite nice,
Yeah,
I've got what to do,
yeah.
yes. It's quite, it goes with what's already there when you
And it
look
doesn't
at it.
touch the
It doesn't touch the abbey, no.
big building.
No, it is separate, isn't it? So it's quite good. I mean, the documents, it's got the environmental document, it's got loads of things they've had done, masses of documents. I haven't managed to read all of them.
Yes, it's quite heavy going.
Yeah, and a lot of it repeats itself.
Yes.
So, but they've had all the right documents done, so I don't have any objections. I don't know if anyone else who wants to comment on it. It's not our area as such, so that comes to the town council, isn't it? So that's both of those are probably all right.
Okay, next is 63 Minutes Lane.
Oh yes, this is the extension we want, isn't it? Yeah.
This is basically just the plans. On the third page, I've done
It doesn't actually, although there's a shed in the other garden next door, it's not actually, the house isn't that side. It doesn't actually affect because it goes right up to the fence,
So-
doesn't it?
A very odd shaped site.
It is,
isn't it?
yes. It's got a peculiar shaped side, hasn't it? It's a triangle. Yes, it's. I mean, the internal plan's quite good. It gives them extra room, doesn't it? So, I can't see it affecting anyone. There's no comments online. No one's objecting to it.
That house as well, set back from the street, isn't it?
It is,
Anyway,
yes.
So you can't really.
You wouldn't see it because there's a garage there now anyway.
And they set around it, you wouldn't notice it, would you?
Who wouldn't, as I said, it goes right up to the fence and next door is their garden shed, etc. So it's not going to affect their building at all. I think he's making the best of the area he's got. It's a peculiar shape, isn't it? Yes. I haven't any objections. Has anyone else got any comments for that?
I can't make it out.
No comments?
No comments, no.
What have we got next?
That's River Garage.
Oh, yes. I have been and spoken to neighbours. No one so far has got any objections to it. They're quite. Some of the comments I got back was this is what they should have put forward the first time.
Yes.
Because it's exactly a copy of the houses
Yes,
next to it,
it
isn't
is,
it?
yes.
Virtually, yes.
It's really
Yeah.
smart.
So these might be slightly bigger and they're going to be 4 bedroom, aren't they?
These look like 1930s houses on Nation, don't they?
Yeah, and there are 2 houses next to it, there's 2 blocks. They're exactly the same pattern as this, which is what
It's really nice.
which is what people said the first time when they put that interim planning commission in.
That looks
Yeah.
much better than what.
It's a lot better, as I said.
Glory
Block
update.
flats we were talking about.
Yeah, I did go and speak to a lot of the neighbours yesterday and no one's objecting. They're quite looking forward to that dilapidated
Yes.
exterior being
Yeah.
got rid of because it's brambles all
Because
over.
they
it.
were going to incorporate that.
Yeah, they're not now, it's going, so, and it's not going back as far because obviously you can only build,
No, this is a much more realistic
is it 10
use
metres?
of the site.
10 metres from the river you can't build on anyway, so it does the garden room shorter, but and it's going to have ground source pumps, so it's quite modern.
Yeah, it's got electric charging point as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
hasn't
actually,
got, hasn't got
you-
panels on the roof,
You have
which
to
is a shame.
start providing, you know, it's amazing what you need to put
Yeah.
into.
I thought they might have asked for solar panels, but they haven't put it for buildings.
No, I
so-
like it.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Oh, it's certainly, well, 100% better
Yeah.
than
If,
what
if
was
you
proposed.
if you sort of look at the application in detail, and I did this one, it really is an overkill.
Yes,
It's they
yeah, but it's what they're
cover
asking
so
for.
many
Mm.
aspects of it.
It's what they're asking for new houses now. You know, ground source heat, electric points,
Mm.
various other things.
Yeah.
Some of them are asking for the, what do you call them? When water goes down the drain pipe and goes.
Oh yeah, rainwater harvesting, things
Yeah,
like that,
they're
yes.
asking for
We
them.
had to have rainwater harvesting, we
Yeah.
had to have solar panels on the garage. Yeah.
Yeah, they're asking for lots.
Yeah.
The only concern some of them have got is obviously this is what's our concern as such. When they do it, they want a proper, building material transport plan because it's a narrow road.
Yeah.
It's going to have to pull in to the existing frontage to deliver, otherwise it will block that road
Yes,
for
yes,
quite a long
yeah.
time. And it's quite a busy road because it's a through
Yes.
one, isn't it? But,
The only thing I was looking for on there that I couldn't see, but perhaps somebody else has managed to see this, work this one out. But the thing is, the whole garage, as it stands at the moment, is considerably large.
no, yeah,
So either they've got to sort of build up the
front bit.
the front part, or build up the whole of the
Well,
dwellings.
I think they're going to flatten the front part as such because that's what it looks like. 'Cause
So it would be a sort of a raised car park,
probably,
parking
yeah.
area.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
know
it
the
wasn't very
site,
clear.
the site has got to be virtually grubbed out completely
I think it
because
will
of
be,
the,
they'll
the
probably
well,
have
because of
contamination,
what's, it's a contamination.
Yes,
That
that's
was
got to be
the-
taken out. So
We
most of
looked
that
at
will
it
go.
years
Yeah.
ago, and the cost of removing it then was tens of thousands of pounds. There's tanks, there's oil pollution, there's everything.
Which means
there.
it will sink.
Yes.
So they will take
Well,
it
I'm
down.
saying they'll take it down and possibly have to build it back up. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be lower than the house next door
Yep.
anyway, so yeah,
Yep.
they're going to take it down. Has anyone got any objections?
No, just certainly 100% better
It
than
is.
what was
It's a nice
proposed.
plan.
Yes.
It will fit into the street scene as well, which
Mm.
is
Yes.
something that's quite good. Yeah.
No.
No
No.
comments
No
on that one?
comments.
No.
Okay, final one is 100 Lower Road. Back and front on this one.
Oh, this is his extension, isn't it?
So
Yeah.
I would say straight away that the single story rear addition is unsupportable because this is a pair of semi-detached houses and the lounge to the one next door would be dominated by this
Isn't the lounge at the front in those ones?
well, it goes right through, doesn't it? But the point is, I'm getting at is that the one next door, this would, I don't know whether this is still,
This is on the side that the pub would have been.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think it's, I don't know whether this is still operated by the council.
What's that?
But the 45-degree line code,
I don't
that's,
know. That might.
that this fouls it completely.
I don't know. That
And
would have to be.
whether or not this is still, I mean, I think that the one next door to it, number 98,
Yeah.
looking out his window, the equivalent of his window, he would have
Yeah, I see what you
that
mean.
back wall, that side wall of that single story rear
I
attachment.
mean,
I've got no problems whatever with the
But would he see it because isn't it on the side of the public section? That the other house is the other side.
Is
Number
it,
100.
is it not the detached one next to the
Yeah,
garden?
it's the one next to what was the garden, 100. So the extension is on the other opposite side to the other house.
It's on the side of the garden, of the
Yeah.
Dublin's garden. Is it not that?
Is
It's
that,
not
is
the
this,
green one, it's the
is
big
that
one,
one?
it's that one,
Mm.
it said, yeah.
It's going to be this bit is taken down, isn't it? The garage and
but number
It's not there, look at the
number
view.
100
It's down there.
is a semi-detached
No,
no, it's
property.
detached.
You can't
It's
because it's
detached.
actually look at the
No.
photo, look at the
It's the
drawing
detached
there.
one next to the two. Yeah.
But look at
But
the
that,
drawing.
that's the garden for the Dublin is
Well, it's
there.
now houses, yeah.
And then it's next
That's
to
number
it,
100.
that's
It's
number
detached.
100.
Oh.
And
But
then
the
the-
drawings don't match the... No,
Well,
No, they
I
don't do.
I
They've
read
got
it
roof lines,
differently.
they're different.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't match.
No.
It's the, it
Doesn't
is the
match.
detached one.
Right.
It's number 100.
well, it says here.
Show you that on the map, so you take
It
the
says
corner
it's
there,
detached,
and
isn't it?
it's
Yeah.
done that way. And the pub would be,
Oh,
would
that's
be,
attached.
the Dublin would be
Yeah.
that one. I
Yeah, that's
think.
detached.
It's,
I thought it was a semi-detached house.
No,
It's
detached one.
existing.
definitely.
Hmm.
It's the one that used to have all the Christmas lights in the front. A few
Actually,
years ago.
those are-
Yeah,
That
look
is,
at
it is semi-detached.
It is
isn't
semi, look at the block plan on the
That
reverse.
is semi-detached,
The map's wrong on Google.
isn't it?
Google Maps is saying it's the detached, it's not.
And yet when you go past it, it looks
Is
detached.
this one now?
So it's the semi.
It is a
It is a
semi,
semi.
yes.
yeah, looking
Because
at that
it-
there, yeah, it's
Google
a-
Maps is
It
showing.
is
yeah.
number 100 is semied with number 98, and number 98 is the one to the right-hand side of
Right,
this.
98.
In which case, this
Well,
single-story
we can ask-
rear.
And we could ask whether those sight lines still exist or have they been considered.
Well, I couldn't support that anyway.
Mm. There's-
Whether
when-
or not this 45-degree line code is still used.
I mean, the neighbour hasn't, there's no comments
No,
online,
it's
the neighbour hasn't put anything
there's
in.
no
No comments about
objections,
it, no.
no.
So maybe they don't know about that yet.
They should do, usually they ask.
I would.
Yeah, they
It's
usually
just got front balcony as well, isn't it, on this one?
yes, just the front, what's it now?
Shouldn't there be a notice on the nearest lamppost? to
There
it?
should, there is some people on the lamppost, so.
That's the map.
Yeah.
yeah.
I've got no problem at all with the remainder of the application, but that single-story rear addition is just preposterous in my view.
Has anyone else got any comments? No? Anyone against or for? I mean, quite a few houses have put extensions on along there.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
there's nothing wrong with single-story or two-story rear extensions, side extensions, and all the rest of it. But having regard to the neighbouring property, which we've established now is a semi, this one is, well, I mean, they've not got much of a back garden there anyway,
No,
because it's
they're not
swept
that
up.
They could put the single story the other side.
Yeah.
I don't think if that were permitted, I don't think it would have any effect on the main part of the extension, which is on the opposite side of the property.
Well, that extension is going to give
Yeah.
them extra room, isn't it?
That's right.
A study, it gives them a study,
Yeah.
doesn't it? So,
Well, I mean, do you want a note on our, do you want a note from the council about your worries of that, or?
Well, I think that we should all send it back and say that we've got no objection to the development in principle, but the single story rear extension is demonstrably awkward for the adjoining property.
It's the actual plan.
Number 90,
Well, I would suggest that
Does it, about that ruling of, is it 45?
45 Green Lane.
Site note.
Yeah.
Yeah, we may put that on there and just say no objection to the actual.
no. But I would have thought the neighbour would have been up in arms if he would have raised an objection immediately.
Yeah, there was none earlier today when I looked.
Okay, right, thank you.
So I
Yep.
think that's it, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah, that's got any of those passed? Yeah.
these are decisions.
Yeah.
And, yep.
So the decisions are all listed on the agenda. So they are 25.053. The rear extension 109 Lewisham Road. Conditional extension GPD, whatever that means.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
No idea what it means.
No idea what that means.
At the end of all the decision notices, these are a great long list of different things they can say, not just granted or refused. Second one, external cladding to the nursing
The
home.
nursing home.
Permission granted. And what was the other one? One Hazeldown, not 13. Erection of extension, that's granted as well.
Chair, general permitted development is the...
All right, thank you.
So it can actually be claimed before it was doing anyway.
Thank you very much. Right. Okay. That's planning. We move on to item 8. I wanted to discuss this, to me it's quite important that a number of new councillors here need to be aware that some years ago we had the situation where the bowls club and the tennis club were costing the parish a fortune. We agreed with them that the bowls club would take over the maintenance of the bowls green and the building, and that the tennis club would take over responsibility for the courts, but we would maintain the fencing and gates.
And the hedges.
And the hedges. The problem is at the moment the fencing is in a pretty poor state. Last year the tennis club tried to stop the kids climbing in there, and when I drove up here tonight they were there in there playing football. They put up a fence, but it actually acted as a stepping post, or they could climb over that more easily than when it is a problem. But the fence in that end is in a really poor state. John Hill's repaired it on a number of occasions and welded bar on bar, but basically we need to spend quite considerable money on the fencing.
Do we know how much?
No, we don't, because neither the tennis club or we can find somebody who could do that sort of fencing. It's quite specialised. What I wanted to do, the tennis club have got a fairly easy ride. They maintain the green, they line it, they cut it, they take their membership fees. What they do with that, I do not know. The bowls club, completely different. They've taken it on, but they went out for grants, got grants, and they really had pushed ahead hard. But the tennis club really have sat back and expected us, on 2 or 3 occasions they've come to us, the path is bad. We said no, we said we'd maintain the fence, but we are going to have to, over the next few years, spend some serious money, I think, on that fencing. And I felt that what we should do, or may do, is to write to the tennis club and to say that we're obviously looking at the financial implications of the fencing. Would they, as indeed both Rangers and the Bowls Club have done, is to approach the Lawn Tennis Association. Tennis courts are well, becoming less and less. They're grass courts, which are very unusual, and I really think that the LTA would possibly be very interested in assisting them with the cost of that. I'm worried that having got rid of those costs, and okay, we have a year agreement with them, or we can give them a year's notice that we're no longer going to do it. They've got to vacate, or they can give us a year's notice. But I am worried. So what I want to do, with everyone's agreement, is we'll write officially to the tennis club and ask them if they would approach the LTA to see if they would assist them, because Rangers have got £50,000 from the FA to improve the pitches.
Sorry, Chair, also Sports England might give them a grant.
They might, yes.
So
yes.
it's not just the LTA,
Yes.
Sports England.
Yes.
And
Yes.
also advise they contact Warmer Tennis Club, which is a grass tennis club, who are very good at getting grants.
Right. Right.
So if they want some advice,
Yes.
I know they've just got a lot of grants. You
Yes.
know, in the square in Warmer.
Yes. Yep.
They've just got a lot of grants recently, and they might be able to advise the chairman of your tennis club.
Yes. Well,
I think it's a tennis and croquet club.
To the day, but ACL, there's very little croquet they don't know.
But it-
I know they've just got a lot of money recently.
Yep.
Through grant, not from the district or the
Yep.
county, but through Lawn Tennis
Yep.
Association.
We obviously have tried, and we have reduced the cost of the recreation ground. I mean, it was astronomical when I first joined. It was over £30,000. I think it was about 36,000 to maintain the rec.
Yeah.
We're now down to well under 10,000, and it's virtually nil. But I don't want to start splashing out, I think, serious money, because the end needs doing, but I'm certain we'll find if we start doing one area, we'll end up needing to look at the whole area, and that would be a very expensive thing. So if you're all in agreement, I'll get Andrew to send off a suitably worded letter. I got one from them, and I passed through to Andrew, sort of saying, oh, the fencing's gone, and by the way, they're still getting in, we need you to block that as well. So really saying, well, you're responsible for the fencing, do it. No question of them. I thought they would have said, well, if there's a cost involved, we'd look at it. No. So I really think that if we can send a suitably worded letter just to say that we are looking at it, worried that there are considerable costs arising, certainly with regard to the fencing and the securing of the site, and ask that they approach the LTA, Sport England, the Warmer Tennis Club, for advice, help, to see what they can do. And I would suggest we leave it a couple of meetings. I will get John Hill if he can. It's very difficult to fill the gap that the kids are getting through. It is difficult, but I'm certain he could do a better job than they did last year. So I will have a word with John and see if we can do something temporary. Because I say they were in there playing tonight, but no, I wanted you all to know that that is the plan that I put into place is worked pretty well. But now with that fencing going on, the football Rangers they have massive funding coming in, and they've got it well organised. The Bowls Club is the same. Bowls Club went to Sport England. We did when I brought Gateway Bowls Club. And Sport England virtually financed the whole of that, so they're very, very good. But we don't have a good record with Sport England, do we, Andrew? Because they're the ones that are giving us trouble, or they were, with the planning. No, they moaned at us because we weren't helping sport, or we were removing something associated with sport. So yes, but if you're all in agreement, then Andrew will do that. It'll more likely be 2 meetings before we get any sort of response from them. But yep. Okay, thank you. Right, item 9, financial matters.
Okay, well, in front of you, I've put a copy of the latest financial report. I've also updated the end of year report, although I'd call that an interim rather than just in case. Obviously it's yet to return, go to audit, etc. So we'll see if there's any mistakes. Financial report for the month of March. Digital copy of all of this, including bank statements, has already been circulated. So the reconciliation all works okay. Down the bottom of page 1, then the income. So standard cafe lease, the repayment of utility costs. I have a mysterious £111, which I don't. It doesn't give a. I don't know if that's from the fate or what. 111. So I'm not quite sure what that's from. But on the statement it doesn't seem.
How was it shown on the statement?
I can't remember what it said now.
Yes, I'm sure you could use it.
And then the KCC grant received last month, that's towards the cost of the new planters, office lease, bank interest.
How long a period is that bank interest? That's a good. In
3
this day and age, that's a.
Yes.
Excellent.
3 months.
Yes.
5 years, I should think.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
3 or 4 months.
that's very good then. £400+ pounds. Well done, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quite a bit then, isn't there?
And then a little bit of money coming in for the fate as well, £80 of the stalls. So that's the income for this month, 3260.
That fate money is for the 25.
For the 25, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And then down the bottom, costs for this month, electricity, handyman costs, cleaning, some couple of repair costs, some stationery, printer inks for the printer. And that's actually I've bought some blacks and that's some colours. So the new printer is extremely economical. The tank ink tank printer. So you won't see that very often on there. Quarterly plane inspection, cleaning supplies is toilet rollers. Didn't put that on there though. One of the heaters in Flint House had to be repaired, groundworks cost. The goals need some work on the bolts at the top and then some more work down the bottom there. That's the kicker
Kicker-outs.
That's
Yeah.
the fixed post. isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they for some reason they keep unbolting. They must go there with spanners and they take the nuts off and take the bolts out. Yeah. So, yeah.
Refuse collection, my annual salary payment, and then my expenses, which is for the year, £27 a month working from home allowance, and then phone, which is £5, the Parish Council line, and email, again £5 a month, which is an extension to the existing email, which is only a 2 gig mailbox, so that's not big enough. So that's I can't get them on direct debit; they have to come via a card. So I have to pay them and then get them reimbursed. A bit ridiculous, but there we are.
Excuse me, just one quick one. We're saying about the goals.
Yes.
You wouldn't be thinking of stealing them from scrap value, would they?
It might be, I suppose.
No.
Unless
Yeah, what's the material they made out of?
no idea.
I think it's.
Bolts be made out of.
Oh, the bolts, they're steel bolts, I know that, they came from Sharp and Enright, but no, the actual goals are, it's obviously not an it looks like an aluminium, but it's really heavy, so I think it's galvanised steel.
That's just a
yeah.
thought.
Yeah, if you have to push and move those, and I've done it, they are really heavy, yeah.
But they are attractive
Yeah.
things, they're
Yeah.
quite easy money to get.
But they're very, very well used. I mean, it's great to see. They really use them a lot.
What we
Yes.
need is some probably more secure bolts, I would say.
No, they're not bolted to the ground. They're bolted together.
Yeah, but I mean,
yes.
whatever
no.
older the bolts need to be upgraded, a high tensile or something like that.
But they're actually removing the nuts and just taking the bolt. They're disappearing. Why they do it?
It's like the Johnny Cash song, one piece at a time.
That's got
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so if we look at the end of year analysis, so budget actuals for the end of the year, and then estimates for the year ahead. A couple of notes which are listed at the bottom. So it's basically just a bit of updates from last month. So total income for the year 87,848. The rec expenditure, net cost of the recreation ground was about 21,000. I think possibly higher than we expected. There's a lot of money spent on the play areas. That
Yes.
keeps being source of costs.
Yes, sorry, I should have mentioned that under rec we had to relay quite a large patch of the soft lay in the old area because that had been dug up and they'd daubed and scraped paint off one of the old rides in there, and you'll see Robin's painted it and it looks absolutely amazing. But yeah, I mean they can continually every time they come down there, unfortunately something that has been either used to its extremes and it needs something it needs, or unfortunately there is vandalism of some nature. But yeah, no, you're right, Andrew. I mean, but what we do now is to pay for everything as we go. If anything's damaged, there's no question of saying, well, that's minor damage, we'll leave it. If it becomes major, we'll do it. So every bit of equipment is as safe as is possible. Sorry, Andrew.
That's okay.
Yep.
But actually what you can, so we if you remember from last month, I said that there is a credit in our electricity account. That will come back to us when we change contracts in June. So actually you could say that if you put that £3,000 back into the back into this year, that brings the net cost of the recreation ground down to about 18. So it is a bit, I don't think there's a great deal else that's different from what was predicted last month rather. So balance carried forward is just under 69,000. If you look at your bank statements, it's different from the amount carried forward in actual cash terms. I think the difference comes somewhere in between the VAT. The figures that I provide here are without VAT, because obviously that comes back to us, whereas the figures each month include VAT. It's a bit confusing. It confuses me anyway. So looking at the estimate for this year, we have now two years VAT that I need to reclaim, so that is included as an income this year. For that energy repayment, which will be around £3,000. We'll come on to bank interest in the next item actually. So income up at around possibly around 103,000 this year. Now, looking at the recreation ground expenditure for the year ahead, one thing I have left in there, the projects. I think I mentioned there is new legislation for disposal of waste. That's coming to force this year for companies with more than 10 employees. So I think it's 2 years now before something may need to be done in the recreation ground to formally separate the waste. But I don't know exactly what that's going to be. So I'll put some money in there for that just in case we start that process this year. Going down to the parish expenditure. I don't think there's anything significantly different again from what was predicted last month. No, I've taken out the costs. I think again we discussed this. I've taken out the allowance that we put in for potential election expenditure if there is a requirement for an election. So that would need to be met from whatever we hold in reserve. I think we generally used to put £500 or £1,000 in there, but that actually wouldn't cover the cost of it. If we were called to for fill a gap by I think it'd be more like 2,000 to 3,000, something like that. It's very difficult to estimate. Well, again, we're getting on to insurance in a following item, and so if we look to the balance carried forward at the end of this year, which nominally is saying 92,000, but that effectively is the budget for the Flint House Works will be inside that amount, plus a reserve. Calc recommends 50% of the annual precept as a reserve, and then any election costs which would need to be kept in there as well. So that's pretty much the end of the year. The sale, going through the process of doing the annual return, having the internal audit done, so any flaws in my figures will be found out then. Although it all balances, so it shouldn't be.
Anyone, any comments on those?
Yeah, any
Well done,
questions?
Andrew, thank you.
Okay, item B. We've got the precept income, which has now come in, £67,474, which, along with the balance brought forward, leaves us a sizable amount, which would be on deposit. I've looked into the possibility of opening a second deposit account, which would be some sort of fixed term, which would give us a higher rate of interest. Let me find my figures here. Do it like that. So, Unity Trust Bank. I'm not entirely sure what's our instant access account, currently 2.25% gross. If we put an amount of money into a 90-day deposit account, it would be just over 3%, 3.06%. If we put some money in for a 6-month fixed term, it would be 4%. So that would be the quickest thing to do. We'd obviously open a second account with our existing bank. Looking around at other suppliers, most of the high interest accounts are actually single individuals. They're not for businesses or organisations. I found a couple. NatWest do a liquidity manager, which is a 95-day fixed term, which is 3.44%. Metro Bank, who we also looked at as being possibly one of the candidates for our account, would do 6 months at 2.25%, but that's only the same as we're getting instant access anyway. Triodos Bank, which are another not-for-profit bank, they do 90 days, but that's only 2.2%. I mean, I haven't looked much further than that. Obviously, if we're looking to an outside provider, then we've got time taken to open a new account, signatories, that's probably going to take 6 weeks or so, at least.
What is the limit that with a single bank that we sensibly should hold?
It's 80,000 per account, which is the FSA.
Per account, so it's per account, not right. So if we split it, we're okay.
So we could put 80,000 tucked away into another account, then that would be okay. So I think the recommendation would be simply to open a second deposit account with Unity, and well, six months. If it took a couple of weeks, so let's say April, May, June, September.
Yes.
Not likely to. I mean, if we had to withdraw the money, we could.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
We just
Yes.
lose interest.
Yes.
That feels sensible.
But certainly,
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Yeah, I was amazed at £400. I mean, that's in interest nowadays. That's amazing. So yes, go ahead, Andrew, and that works well, doesn't it, with the authorisations?
It does.
Really does. Yes.
And item D. So the recreation groundwork contract actually renewed at the beginning of this month. Charlie is keeping the cost the same, so there's no increase in that. So it's Just
What
what
was
was
nice, he asked permission to use photos of the wreck to advertise, and I said absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is a
He had
picture.
some
what he's
nice
done.
comments for it as well.
Yes.
You know, I think
That was nice.
you know.
So the final item there, item E, is insurance renewal. We are in the second year of a long-term agreement with Hiscox Insurance. That means we don't get a massive jump, but obviously we still get a small variation. They sent me the pre-renewal, and I had to adjust a couple of items. So last year's insurance cost was 6255. The renewal coming at the beginning of June will be 6486. So it's not going up by very much.
When you think the value of it, it's surprising the monetary value of the recreation grant. You've missed
Oh, sorry, I'm
C, haven't you? Yes.
Oh, yeah,
C?
sorry, yeah.
Sorry,
do you
I
wanna,
did-
would you
yes.
we'll leave that down at the bottom there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, so obviously next year, third year of the agreement, should be more or less the same, but be prepared for a shock in
Yes.
2 years' time.
Insurance premiums are going one way, unfortunately. Yes.
Yes.
So yes, so item C. So
You sent a letter around, Jeff.
yes, I had the letter that I was asked to. I sent you all a copy of that, and I met with Grace Dennis, Parks officer, at the recreation ground for her to have a look at our problems down there, the Flint House, and to discuss it. As I think I said, they have already contacted Temple York Parish Council, who are constitutionally forbidden from supporting projects outside of the parish. Kersniab is within our parish. But they said yes, they will contact the other parish councillors locally and ask them, but they are all smaller ones, so they not put a great deal in. But they said yes, they will speak to planning on our behalf and try and find out what the problem is. So I provided Grace with information and went through it in quite a lot of detail with her, so she's got all of the details. So she will approach the planning officer and try and get some movement for us on Flint House.
And your meeting.
Well, yes, and I said yes, and could she also find out why we've been waiting 6 months or more for a
Well, 8
pre-application?
months since, yes. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
You paid for that meeting, isn't
Yes.
it?
And it was their suggestion that we do it. So we haven't actually moved on that. We have, but I'm saying, at the moment, DDC have not moved at all on it, not from a planning point of view.
No.
Well, they're holding up issuing decisions on 2 planning applications.
Yep.
So the issue at hand is whether the parish council wishes to support the Kersniaby play area refurbishment and
Definitely not, as far as I'm concerned, until we get somewhere with these planning decisions.
That was the agreement of the last meeting, wasn't it? If we had a positive outcome,
Yep.
then
We would, yes.
decide
And
our
and that,
contribution, and that hasn't happened.
and the situation is still the same.
Yeah.
We're taken for a ride.
I probably would expect any help from Grace to stop then, the planning officer, if we go back and say we're not going to contribute, because she's taken that away as an action, right? Speaks to the planning officer, she's probably not going to be incentivised now to do that, so we might lose the in. But
I think it's still sitting in legal or something.
Well, I think
But how, like, I mean, since that last meeting and that was agreed, I would have, mind you, I said there's plenty of time to speak to planning. We've been 8 months and we can't.
Yeah.
But no, I think that we just keep the decision on that play area refurbishment until that is sorted.
that's right.
Yes.
I-
Yeah, we stick by what we said, but until
I
we
think
can
we
resolve
should.
that, and
doesn't stop them coming back to us in a few months' time to say we've resolved the planning problem.
Correct.
Because you now
Yeah.
get on
Yep.
a
Yep.
contribution.
Yes.
And we'll make
We'll do it at the time.
we'll
Yes.
discuss a reasonable
Yep.
amount of money.
But not 15 grand.
No.
Well,
No,
whether
no,
stop
I
that
mean,
in there,
and
wouldn't
even
it?
5 is, but no. So we're all agreed on that,
Yeah.
yes?
Yes.
Yes, yep. What is there anything we can, I'll keep saying this, but what can we do with DDC?
Do we need to get a bus
Did you
trip
see-
to go up there, all of us going up?
DDC planning.
Well, I have a
Yes, it is planning now, yes.
potential idea, but
A cunning plan.
I'll let you
Or
know.
Rick.
I have a
Yes.
cunning plan. I won't go into it until I can.
Okay,
No.
no, I just think that we need to
Yeah.
do something. It's a nonsense that,
It's just sitting there.
yeah, it's just sitting
Yeah.
there. We've got the money to do it, yes. And the longer it waits, the more it costs us. That's the
Yes.
trouble. That's the trouble. Okay,
Gone up a lot.
right. We'll move on to item 10, Highway Improvement Plan.
Right, okay, well I've had my meeting with Kent Highways. First thing is that the London Road Survey will take place on the 13th, in the week commencing 13th of May. I did bring up the problem with the surface, the road surface, and their advice was to report it online and then it'll get looked at.
It's frightening how bad our roads are. I mean, it really is.
And when we come to the one item which I discussed with them, which was the gravel potential, some form of pedestrian crossing, pedestrian adaptation for the Cravel Hill to get to the bus stop. They looked at everything they could. The problem is that a puffing crossing needs to be on somewhere where there's faster traffic. I think she mentioned 40 miles an hour, so the traffic isn't going fast
No, it's
enough
got the
there.
traffic lights,
Put
isn't
a-
it?
put a puffing crossing.
Well, not,
What about the
not legally, they're not.
So, and shoot the messenger.
It's in a 30 mile an hour speed limit.
Second thing was they were looking at a possibility of a refuge island, but the road's not wide enough. So we're they don't think anything can be done there.
Well, I'm gonna pass then.
I have actually got one other item
Somebody's
which
killed.
actually I should have spoken to about. I'd forgotten about. Somebody reminded me. Is that there was a request for a complaint about people parking on double yellow lines on Lower Road on the section from the co-op to the pub, and the suggestion was that there are those broken lines on the road, either one or two, which are actually no loading,
Yeah.
no stop, well, no stopping, no loading. So it's been suggested. I've asked the lady to just clarify exactly what it is she's asking for, and then I'll have a discussion with Kent Highways. She has already contacted Highways, and they did what they would do, which is pass it back down to us. But they did say there would have to be significant consultation, which you'd have to do some kind of mail shop along all the houses there. I did when she initially emailed me, I did say, you do realise that no loading means everybody, including yourself. So
Like that one.
so if a warden comes along and you're emptying the shopping from your car, you get a ticket. But I don't know. I would ask the question. I would imagine that you probably get a lot of opposition to it.
You will do it all there.
But well, that's something that I will speak to Iris about. As we had nothing actually outstanding on there, she said she wouldn't make us wait another year to look at it, and she'd be happy to look at things in the interim and perhaps do a review in 6 months' time as well. Because generally speaking, people have things on the highway improvement project which are then being dealt with, and they don't want adding on things. But as we have nothing outstanding, they will speak to us during
Everything we've asked or suggested has been ruled out, isn't it? Absolutely.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Has.
I
Most
don't
of the
think
time.
that this is some new fresh or repainted yellow lines coming around from when you come into River, going towards what was the Dublin.
Yeah.
And they're all
New ones, aren't they?
they must have been done in the last couple of days.
I have been doing some around here as well.
Yeah,
But they're just repainting the existing, not adding
yeah.
new.
Oh,
I
no.
think that's it. It looks as though
Yep.
they were existing.
Right, some
Right.
of them have virtually
Yep.
disappeared in places.
Mm.
Okay, so that's
Okay, thank you. Item 11, to discuss arrangements for the 2025 annual general meeting and annual parish meeting. Right.
Yeah. Just to say, there is a provisional booking at the mill for that evening if we decide we want to use it. It's purely a contingency, it's not a recommendation. But I was asked to look into it and I did put a provisional booking in there.
Is it big enough to hold a crowd is a question.
Well, that's
No,
a
I
double-edged
mean,
question, isn't it?
it really is embarrassing how little support we receive from the parish.
Local
Great
residents.
gems, yeah.
It's quite
Yeah.
Local residents.
Well, yeah, yes.
I also find it slightly ironic that I'm addressing the Temple Yules AGM on the 29th of April with a presentation. Yeah, there you go.
Right, so I know we've tried in the past to have a speaker. The trouble is, we've had a speaker and we've had no one to speak to. And honestly, it has been that embarrassing. And tonight, if it hadn't been for the shop owner coming, we would have been, well, very poorly supported. And he got out as soon as he could, I don't blame him. No, but I mean, do we hold it here? Do we hold it in the mill? We bounce around in here, we'd bounce around even more in the mill. I mean, it'll be us.
It was last year, wasn't it?
I think the whole idea about the mill was that we had sufficient time to make it more of an event, which means it needs pre-publicity. We're now a month away or
Yes.
so. I'm not saying it's too late that we can't drum up support, rather than just say we expect a low audience. So the debate is, do we try and really make a major effort in the last 4 weeks, or accept the status quo, which is a quiet room?
Come along to your exciting
Oh, right.
annual meeting.
I presume, is it going to start at 7 o'clock?
Yes.
It will.
The only benefit of the mill, they've got a bar, so you could offer a bribe everyone with a free drink if they turn up.
actually, I'm not sure actually if we could hold the AGM there because you're
Because
not
it's licensed premises.
you're not allowed to hold
No.
parish meetings
It's
in
been licensed premises.
The bar doesn't have to be open, does it?
No. You could hold the parish meeting there, but not the AGM.
So we don't have outside the car park and they go in.
Yeah.
Right, well, no, thank you, Mike, for
Okay,
organising that then.
I'll
Yes,
let you know
yes,
that,
sorry,
right,
yes.
okay.
But I mean, what are we going to have, as we had last year, a low-key event? It's short notice to try to get a speaker now, or someone to come, and I say, it is embarrassing when he's talking to us. So, it would be here, we'll start at 7 o'clock.
Would we have the report from the?
Yeah, I tell you what we could do. We'll have the report from WTT on about the 4th of May. Also, there will be on the stocks the presentation we give to Temple Ewell. So we could run that if we want to.
Well, I was just going, yes.
And we could add a little bit in on the observations of WTT. So we do have a backstop.
Yes. Well, I think that's not a
I'll
backstop,
be happy to do that, yes.
that's what I think that's what we'll play, yes. Yes.
If we're going to do it here, is there something we can do with Linda and the chit chat and do like a late evening kind of coffee, make it, because we've got residents coming and use chit chat.
Yeah.
Could we make it more of a coffee evening?
Yeah,
time
no,
affair, attract people out, see.
it's worth a try.
I know Linda's off at the moment because she's had an operation.
Yeah, she has a knee down, isn't she?
Yeah,
But
but we
certainly,
it did something different
Well, as you say, we need to try to do something to
Yeah.
entice people to come in. So I think that's a really good
I think
idea.
just to sit here might
Yes.
just be a bit.
Yeah. So I think if Mike, if you can do,
Yeah, we can do something.
yes,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, that would be good. But I think that's a great idea. See if they would.
What was the day again? Remind me. It's the
May 13th.
May 13th. Let me speak to my mum to see if there's a possibility.
Oh.
Mum.
No, it's a great
But
idea.
it could be an
would.
idea.
It may just do what we want. Is to even if it's a dozen people, that would be no, it would really be good, wouldn't it?
Amazing.
Yes. Yes. I think we'd pay them to come.
Yeah, because it's volunteer. I'll ask and see what if it's a
Yeah.
possibility.
Yeah,
Just
thank
some
you.
volunteers
If you would,
to-
yes, yep. Yes, and obviously if there's a cost involved,
Yeah.
as a parish council, I think we'd be happy to.
Perhaps we could fund
Yes,
coffee and cake.
yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think yes, please.
We used to
Yeah.
have biscuits and tea at the beginning.
We
Yes,
missed
they did,
Jill.
didn't we?
Yes.
That's all down to streaming,
Yeah.
which
Oh, I used to
she
use that.
objected to.
Yeah.
Gosh, come a long time.
Jill used to do that.
Right, so that's what we were going to do for the AGM. General correspondence received.
Yep, I have a couple of items. Now, we haven't actually announced our nominee for the Calc Community Award, but they have, Calc have arranged like an event for nominees. We understand that some councils may not yet have presented their certificate to their nominee, and in some cases may still be awaiting its arrival from Calc. That's right, we're still awaiting its arrival from Calc. We appreciate these circumstances and understand how the invitation extends to your nominee and one guest. It's like a special evening of recognition and celebration, but this is up in Maidstone. Chairman of KCC, delighted to invite your nominee to a special evening of celebration and recognition. Special evening will recognise and honour those who've been nominated for their outstanding contribution to their local communities. Wednesday 14th of May, so it will be the day after our AGM, 6:30 to 8:30 PM in the Stone Hall, KCC Sessions House, Maidstone. So this is something which our nominee would be, we'll have to tell our nominee
Yes.
before then that
And we
once
certainly
she's been nominated,
present
I'm
the
not sort of avoid
certificate.
Before then, if they send it to us.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean the intention is always that we presented at the idea was supposed to be that we presented at the AGM, but there was 1 year when it arrived after I had published the agenda, and the frame was broken, so I had to rush around trying to get another frame to put this thing in, and that's why since then we've kind of been a bit looser with when we present it. But do we want to put that on our AGM as well, present it, but we would have to, one, inform the nominee, and two, tell her that there is an event that she can attend.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
No, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sooner we do, the better.
Next, there is a opportunity to be a trustee for the Neighbourhood Watch Network.
Still there.
Pleased to hear from people who have experience of serving on or reporting to a board, but are also keen to provide training and support for colleagues taking on their first trustee role. So if anyone's interested in being a trustee to the Neighbourhood Watch Network, then please let me know. It's nothing to do with the Parish Council. So
Qualification there is you've got to be good at twitching neck curls.
and then the final one, did actually get one letter of complaint about the wild trout visit.
Oh, yes, I think I know the individual involved, but I've not mentioned names here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we were unable to get to his door to knock before the guys had come down the river out of sight. So they were very good at disarming the situation. They fully explained what they were doing. They were immediately assumed to be from the Environment Agency, not WTT.
Right.
So there wasn't any great aggravation on there. They explained what they were doing. Just happened they put one foot in his garden to come out of the river. Yeah. So I had anticipated we would get some.
Right. Was this a lady or was it a gentleman?
Gentlemen.
A gentleman, right? Because this is a lady who wrote this. That was her.
Oh, right.
Her husband. I'm currently recovering from an operation. I've had to sit and relax for 6 weeks. These men appeared in my week 3 and frightened the life out of me. Whilst I've got a printed copy of it here. Whilst talking about the river at the bottom of our gardens, I was told when I moved here I was responsible for the area of river at the end of my garden. Nowhere does it state I should allow trespasses. When young people walk through past the bottom of my garden with their fishing rods, do I just accept this contrary to what I understood are my rights? In this day and age you hear such terrible stories and I don't feel I can trust anybody so near my property. Can the council please clarify what is and what is not allowed from the owners and public with regards to the river at the end of our gardens? And she did ask that could some kind of paper communication be put through the doors of those affected by the trout inspection visit, which obviously would have been a lot of houses. So,
I think to come say one, we did what we could by posting it on the website with a full explanation of what we're doing. Secondly, she might be cautious to check her deeds to see what her riparian ownership is offering her, because generally, you know, the river channel does not belong to riparian owner. So she has so that's another issue. But the colleagues from WT didn't actually report to me that particular one, but I did experience one other problem
possibly she didn't go out to talk to them if she's recovering from an operation, perhaps she wasn't mobile, so go out there. So yeah, I'll go back to her on that.
Just one other issue. You asked us to look at those rubbish sacks which have accumulated opposite the home. WTT wouldn't do that, but I had a poke around and they appear to be rubble bags with builders debris in them. They've already been reported by Whitecliffe's Countryside Partnership to the EA, and the EA said unless we had conclusive evidence of seepage of toxic material into the river, they wouldn't do anything to it.
Right.
And Martha Noakes said, well, we've taken it as far as we can, and we've got nowhere with it. So that's a report on that.
Yeah, okay, that's lovely, thank you very much. Okay, that's it for
Right. That brings us to item 13.
We're ready.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Right.
So there will need to be a proposer and a agree and a vote on that, just to make sure it's
Yes.
legal.
You would leave us there.
I will leave you.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll turn that.
Are you going to say your prayers, Andrew?
Yeah.
Turn that
You've got to take the
down.
camera off.
I'm not gonna no listen at all.
I'm going to play it back later. Okay.
Do we discuss that now or not? Or
No, I couldn't.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Right. We move on to
Yeah,
item
exactly,
15,
yes.
which is items for information. Starting with Clark.
No.
No.
Yeah, just a quick one, not strictly related to the parish, but shortly somebody, sure there are people in the area with interest in shipping matters and yachting. Stowe was going to have on Tuesday the 22nd one of the super yachts and the clipper races, or takes part in the clipper races, is stopping up at Dover. There'll be opportunities for the general public to visit such a big boat, and also there'll be a short lecture at the yacht club that evening. You can get tickets through, what do they call themselves again, Eventbrite. I'm just looking at one, Eventbrite. But it might be something, it's the Tuesday immediately after Easter Monday. They're sailing down from London, going to Portsmouth and going around wherever. But it'll be a bit of an unusual opportunity. And you don't get boats that big coming in, a specialist boat like that, coming in the Dover very often.
Thank you, Chris. Right. Mike?
No, Daniel, events week.
Yeah, so we need to get an events.
Date then.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, is there anything you want to run through on? You don't want to run through anything now, do you?
No, it would be good
that's
if we could squeeze one in April.
Yep. Yep.
So it could be the 24th or 25th
Of
April.
I don't know if Thursday afternoon is available.
Friday?
But Friday normally seems to be, they don't seem to have a problem with that. So
Yeah.
same.
25th.
All you do is Friday when
Friday.
you're finished.
I can be
5?
very flex on Friday afternoon. I usually work at home. Just do it early if you want to.
I think Ramsey
No,
had-
I have a lunch, and a presentation dinner that day. But no, I can obviously make 5 o'clock quite comfortably. It could
Yeah,
be
should we do
like
5
before.
Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which day is this?
25th of April, 5 p.m.
I think Razia finds it difficult to make 5,
Yeah.
doesn't she?
Well, we can do
5:15, 5.
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
5:15, is that right?
Yeah. I had it last time.
25th, 5:50.
Yeah. This would be good to have a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to update it on
Yeah.
Here, isn't it?
we need to talk about the brochure,
The brochure,
deadline,
Yeah.
and I've got to beat up Rival magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
With
can
some we've got like
Where will
another
that be here?
week before the
It'll
deadline.
be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We like a British idea though, that will work.
I do like, yeah. Cool, thank you.
It's table time.
Thank you all very much. Yes.
That's a busy week. Whatever you do.